Well, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I do think that what we're seeing right now is the pullback that I've been talking about for 3 weeks. It has nothing to do with tariffs. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with the fact that the markets were too stretched, and they were looking for any excuse to sell, to trim. If you were watching last night, and you should have been, and if you didn't, you can still watch it. I had a little bit of a change in the program last night. We had Bradford Ferguson on last night, and Bradford said he took his trims last Friday. So that should give you some indication of what's ahead. We're going to go down 5 to 10% on the S&P. NASDAQ is leading this charge. The NASDAQ was, of course, up more than the rest of the markets. And so the NASDAQ is obviously going to get hit first. Palantir was the example yesterday. Today it's Target. I don't think Target, their numbers were actually a beat on both the top line and the bottom line, even though the numbers are down. So they're projecting that their sales will be off. But this isn't an indication of where the economy is going. Target itself has been having some problems individually, uniquely to themselves. They caused some of their own problems over the last couple of years, and they haven't recovered from those. And they're putting in a new CEO. So their numbers are down this morning, but I don't think that's the key. The key, I think, right now is an overstretched market and people are taking profits. You say, well, Randy, but Tesla isn't overstretched. Tesla has the highest PE of pretty much, well, any large cap company, and pretty much mid caps too. So Tesla being as high a PE as it is, even though there's a great story and a great reason, I can tell you the reasons all day long, doesn't mean that it's not going to come under the same pressure. I know, Randy, you're talking out of two sides of your mouth right now. You said a little while ago maybe the move would be into Tesla as people pulled out of some of the names that have already had big run-ups. And that also could happen, and it might happen, but it might not until there's even better news. Now, the news on Tesla right now is really, really, really good. And there was no bad news this morning that would cause Tesla to be down at all. I mean, in fact, I would say the news is very good for Tesla again today. Elon is back. Elon is working hard. Elon is posting about Tesla. So yeah, I'd say all good for Tesla right now, but people are waiting for the big news on Tesla, and we don't have that yet. All right, let's go ahead and dig into it a little bit here. Let's start off with this. Elon starts out with this post this morning. He was says version 14 is the second biggest update to Tesla AI Autopilot ever. The V12, he says, was the biggest change because that was when we went from hard-coded to neural net. And neural net, he says, it feels alive. He says in another post, the version 14 of Tesla self-driving feels sentient. Well, yeah, I don't believe that we can ever get to sentience through machines. I think that would be impossible. But it's fun to play around with this stuff. Barron's has this morning. Tesla stock was down slightly in the early trading. Well, it's more than slightly now. Tesla stock is down slightly in early trading Wednesday, despite a report that Elon Musk might not create a third political party after all. Shares of the electric vehicle maker, blah, 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 blah. The move came after the Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday evening that Musk was quietly pumping the brakes on plans to start a third political party, citing people with knowledge of his plans. Tesla didn't respond to requests for comment. He also said that the Wall Street Journal, I believe, also said, maybe it'll say this here later in the article, but that he is very, very definitely considering, maybe has already told J.D. Vance that he will be behind his presidential ambitions coming up in a couple of years. Pivoting away from politics is likely a very big positive. I added the very big part. Very likely a positive for investors. Musk's role in the Trump administration alienated some core Tesla buyers, politically left-leaning people looking to go green. Global vehicle sales dipped 13% year over year in the first half of 2025, with management citing business challenges due to brand image. Now, I think that the people that ran away from Elon Musk had nothing to do with whether he was still green or not. He's never been that green. Maybe 10 years ago, he was kind of more green than he is now, but this was not anything to do with green. This has to do with much bigger issues of somebody leaving the cult. And I'm not calling liberals and progressives a cult. I meant it in the more general sense of you're a part of the group, you leave the group says, hey, we don't want anything to do with you anymore. After Musk left the administration, his public feuding with President Donald Trump over government spending injected more volatility into Tesla shares. The spat culminated in July with a promise to form the American Party. While investors likely prefer less politics, the early stock reaction shows that to some extent, investors have moved on from the drama. So what we've got here is it doesn't matter what happens to Tesla right now. They can introduce a new car. They can have better car sales. They can have better margins going into the quarter. They could announce a new factory. Nothing is going to matter with Tesla right now until we get the key elements of robotaxi taken care of. We need the driver, the safety rider out of the seat. We need the app to be available to more people. We need more than 11 or 12 cars in Austin, and we need clear evidence that the thing is working on its own as a robotaxi. And then I think we'll begin to see some serious moves upward. I think we probably need to have, at least 30, 40, 50 cars without safety riders, maybe a second city. I mean, it's gonna take something right now in this environment. I think the environment right now should be great, right? The stock market should be going crazy. It looks like we're gonna have peace in Ukraine, even the likelihood of maybe peace in Israel. After a little more war, got to get the rest of the folks out, the rest of these ridiculous Hamas people out of Gaza. But we could be looking at weeks rather than months at this point. Well, earlier this week, Tesla launched the Model Y L version in China. It's a 6-seat configuration with a third row of seats and a captain's chairs in the middle row. And then, quote, this variant of the Model Y doesn't start production in the U.S. until the end of next year, Musk said in another post on X. In fact, he says it might not ever, given the advent of self-driving in America. So what Elon is saying is that he does not see the need for a 6-passenger version of a robotaxi. He thinks that the 2-seat version, the 5-seat version, that's going to be enough. You don't need the 6-seat version. Of course, there's eventually going to be, I guess, the Robovan or the Robovan, whichever pronunciation you'd like to use. And I guess he thinks that takes care of all the other necessary components. My guess is also, I don't know if Elon's thinking this way, but I believe he would be, and that is there will be niche vehicles from other folks. The Ubers and the Lyfts and the Waymos of the world may not survive or may not get many rides just competing with a 2 or 4-seat or 5-seat version. They might need to go to something much more unique. Things like the limousine versions and whatnot. More model variations can help arrest Tesla's sales decline, but Musk remains focused on the value from AI-trained self-driving. Investors in Wall Street remain optimistic about the opportunity. William Blair analyst Jed Dorsheimer pegged the value of Tesla's self-driving technology at $1 trillion yesterday, and he's got a low estimate compared to some. Business Insider said, wait a minute, I think we're going to be repeating ourselves here. Tesla variant doesn't start. Electric vehicle adoption. This is the Business Insider. Electrical vehicle adoption in China is far higher than in the U.S., and Chinese companies have rapidly taken market share with a wave of affordable electric models packed with high-tech features. The Model YL, which adds new features, so it's not just the extra row, but also a bunch of these little clever things, including a new row of foldable seats, powered armrests, and a bunch of other things, went on sale for only $47,200. This is and apparently got a very big reception. So Xiaomi says the YU7 received nearly 300,000 pre-orders in an hour after it launched. This is the kind of thing that, had a bunch of cool features. In the US, where Chinese EVs are not available due to high tariffs, Tesla has increasingly focused on robotaxi. I'm sorry. Xiaomi says oops. All right. CNBC has this. Sales of Tesla's flashy Cybertruck are a fraction of the more than 1 million reservations the company had a month before deliveries. So far, the U.S. sales total is just over 52,000 units. I'm sure it must mean that's got to be for the year. This is really remarkable vehicle, says Sean Tucker, executive editor of Cox. I quite like the design, but then I tend to quite like anything that stands out. The Cybertruck's futuristic design caught attention, but has limited appeal. The truck specifications also fell short. No, this is not why this is not why the Cybertruck's not selling. The truck's specifications fell short of those Tesla advertised early on. No. It fell short of what was suggested when Tesla first announced it 4 years before it was eventually unveiled. And it was a completely different vehicle in terms of size and everything else. So this is lousy reporting. There have also been many quality and production problems, like any new car. This is a completely new kind of car, and most of the quality issues have been handled by over-the-air updates. With all those factors, plus a less than advertised towing and payload capacity, no. Quote, I think the problem they ran into was with the design. It's not functional as it should be, Tucker said. Some of the design decisions that truck makers tend to make, they're because of many, many years of people using trucks and determining that that's the best way for them to work. Whew. It had things that no truck ever had before, like the power in the truck. Listen, I'm going to just end this article here. It just goes on and gets sillier and sillier. And we're running out of time for this story this morning. It just goes on with all these kind of excuses. No, there's only one excuse. It isn't available for a price point that people want to pay for that kind of truck. It needs to come down. There's a second reason, I think, that really, really killed it, and that was the politics. And you know that I talk on this channel, I say, the politics are a problem in the United States, but nothing like Europe. Crazy political situation in Europe, but it's hurt sales in the United States. I'm the first to say that, but not that much. But the Cybertruck was like a sore thumb. It was just an announcement that you liked Elon Musk, and I think that hurt it right at the peak, right at the time when it should have been getting the most traction among the wealthy left, and then even some on the right. But if the price came down, you got that truck down to $59.9. Nah, it'd sell like crazy. This is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like and the subscribe and all those things, even on a rough morning on the market. No, this is not the end of the rough morning. And I think there's a real good chance that on Friday it's going to get rougher, because I think the Fed is going to say, net. What's that? No, it's not yet. I think they're going to say, no, we're not going to lower. Let's put it this way. I don't think he's going to give you any hope that the interest rates are coming down. They might come down, but we've got a month to go, almost a month before that's going to happen. And so there's a lot of speculation between now and then, but you're not going to get a signal on Friday. And that's going to further crush the market. That's what I think. I could be completely wrong. Maybe tomorrow morning or even later today, people go, okay, enough selling. These look like bargains to me. Axios says this: job growth slowed down substantially this summer. What we don't know for sure is why. Oh, really? I think they go on to say why. That why is crucial for policymakers who must decide what to do next. The big picture: if the job slowdown is due to less labor supply, thanks in part to restrictionist immigration policy, then it's nothing to worry about. If it's because employers are more reluctant to hire, then it's an early warning that the economy needs monetary stimulus. Yes. Both of those things can be true, and overall the market might be okay. Overall, the consumers are still in there. We've shown that over and over and over again that the consumers are just fine. Oh, could some market stimulus work? Could the Fed dropping rates help with mortgages? Could the Fed dropping rates help with people that are going into Lowe's and making these larger purchases. As reported yesterday, the large purchases are not happening. In other words, we could be, according to the article, in the early stages of a labor market downturn, which could justify the kind of aggressive interest rate cutting the Trump administration wants and seeks. Or we could just be seeing the inverse of the situation faced in 2023 and the first half of 2024, when high immigration rates unduly flattered the payroll numbers. Yes, making the deterioration in the health, masking a deterioration in the health of the labor market. That would imply no rate cutting is needed. No. Okay, you bring in a couple of million people a year, undocumented. You add those to the already normal immigration numbers that you get anyway. And you also start hiring people like crazy for the federal government. Yeah, all those things are going to give you heightened activity in terms of labor, and it's going to help to keep the market from going into the toilet, maybe when it should have. Remember, we had 2 months in a row of negative GDP growth. Well, the only thing that saved it was government and immigration. And he's saying, well, now we got the opposite. Those people are leaving, so the economy is pretty good. But with those people leaving, it's kind of being a little bit of a drag on the economy. Yes, definitely. And firing government workers instead of hiring is going to have a drag effect on the U.S. economy. But we've got lots and lots of things that are acting as a stimulus. And what we have this balancing act right now. And that's why I said yesterday and the day before, we don't know for sure. We can have a little slowdown. Might last a month or a quarter. Not going to last more than that. That's my feeling. And this could cause part of a drop in the market, this 5 to 10% drop. And then we go to the races. State of play, it says, reliable numbers on immigration flows are hard to come by in real time, particularly for migrants with ambiguous legal status. If a large number of immigrants are being deported, self-deporting, or staying away from their workplaces for fear of raids, it would translate into fewer workers on employers' payrolls. That, combined with the extra large baby boom generation hitting retirement age, is exerting downward drag on the rates of job creation consistent with the healthy job market. Yeah, so we're going to start. I'm seeing numbers. Well, what do they say? Normally, the 35,000 average monthly job growth from May through July would be a 4-alarm market fire. Yeah, so getting to being at 35,000 average would be horrible, but that's the number that people are quoting right now. Some are quoting as low as 10,000 a month needed to stay at zero, to stay at 4.2. To the degree it's driven by those mechanical effects of immigration and demographics, it's not worthy of a policy response. The intrigue, the inverse situation in the Biden administration shows the policy predicament. From April 23 to 24, the unemployment rate rose a whopping 0.8 percentage points. Many of those signs the labor market was softening significantly, but the economy was adding an average of 177 jobs a month in that same span. At first glance, the combination of rising unemployment and strong job growth simply does not compute. It is explained by a surge in immigrants seeking refuge and adding to the federal government payrolls. And also government payrolls in general and government adjacent like healthcare. What they're saying, we learned in 23 and 24 that if there are big immigration changes going, aggregate numbers like total GDP growth and total job creation can be very misleading short-run indicators, according to Chicago Fed Aaron Goolsbee. And Randy, for months and months and months, I've been talking about this. And these guys are finally getting it. There was 4 articles. 4. I had to choose between 4 articles on this subject that were very, very, very similar because they're finally getting it. Just this week, they're getting that this immigration thing is impacting. How long have I been talking about it? I quote, I want us to not over-index on monthly payroll employment when we're in an environment where we don't know what the break-even is because we don't know what the immigration flows are. That's what Goolsbee said. Of note, the official topic of this year's Jackson Hole Economic Policy Symposium, which starts Thursday, is labor markets in transition, demographics, productivity, and macroeconomic policy. And that adds one more thing, which nobody talks about: productivity. The AI thing is hitting. And it's not just AI. You know, we talk about humanoids, but there's lots of other kinds of robots. We look at Amazon. It's now up to 1 million of these little robots that run around their warehouses. We've got drones already making deliveries in the United States, not just in China and elsewhere. So, and we got drones on the street basically, and it's just a matter of time before there's millions of them. So these questions of how immigration policy and demographic changes are affecting labor markets are likely to be front and center, even though the topic was set long ago, if you listen to this channel. All right, we've got the inflation this morning, 2.06 overnight. That's fine. 1.93 year over year, according to Truflation. The GDP number did drop a little bit to 2.3. That's still a fine number. Here we are in the latter days of August, and we're still at 2.3. So it looks like to me that the third quarter is going to do just fine if we can trust the Atlanta Fed for their estimations. And we've got Trump sitting at 49% this morning as he, can you imagine if any other president was had done what Trump has done the last few days with regard to the Ukraine war? They would be at 59, maybe in the 60s. I mean, look at where Bush was in I think it was at 2001 or whatever, right after 9/11, when he was doing cool things, standing on the grounds and shaking his fist. And he was like, I don't know, 89%. So yeah, they don't like, the left just hates him. It's just not going to matter what he does. Okay, let's go ahead here and look at Tesla is now down 4.18% this morning. Again, having nothing to do with Tesla. Tesla's news is fine. That puts us at $315.56. You got the NASDAQ down 1.68. So you've got the Tesla acting pretty much as it normally does with regard to the NASDAQ. All of those are down, just continuing down. But look here, the Dow is only down 0.26. So this is kind of a rotation as we go down, as we take profits, as we take some of the top off of the S&P. The Dow is not coming down as much. Why? Because it was not at all-time highs. The S&P is down almost a full percent. We have got all of the Magnificent Seven down. We're talking about Apple 1.7. We got Google 2 points, Amazon down 2.7. You've got NVIDIA down 3.3%. You got the VIX jumping up 7% to 16.67. This is all technical. I'm telling you, it's all technical. Interesting here. Listen to this though. Costco is up a full percent. Okay, Cathie Woods are all down basically. Some big numbers. ARK K 3.44. CRISPR down 4%. TDOC down 3%. These have nothing to do with their fundamentals. This is all a big technical. Yeah, Block down 3.67. What about PayPal? Only 1.29. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of the numbers here. We have got the Russell I'm going to report on this morning. It is also down, but only 0.75. You've got Bitcoin actually back up again, but from a big low. So it's kind of bounced off its low, 113,625. So it's down a bunch. You've got oil this morning up $1. And you've got natural gas down another, however, just barely though. I would call it flat. But natural gas, again, I've read some articles now. Natural gas, definitely the summer demand was not as high. Now, they're saying it's going to be the second best year ever in the United States for natural gas, but not as good as the amount that we're pumping. So therefore, the price is coming down. You've got gold this morning up $30. So people are rotating into gold this morning. Into silver is up 0.4% to 37.74, and copper's up a little bit, but still pretty low at $4.42. And you've got the dollar is in a holding pattern. It says here, yeah, it's barely changed. Up a little bit against the Japanese yen, but down a little bit against the euro. All right, so that is what's happening right now in the markets. I have got Brian Wang undoubtedly today at around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. We never quite sure when Brian's going to be able to break loose from his other activities. And then a surprise at 7:45 tonight. Why do I call it a surprise? Because I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. But it will be wonderful. Last night, you should definitely go back and check out the conversation I had with Bradford Ferguson. It was really. You know what? I'm going to put up Brian White also. That was a very fun and useful discussion that I had with Brian White. So I'll put both of those cards up in case you got a few minutes and like go back and check one of those out. All right, that's all I've got for now. I need to find my way out because I'm doing something a little different today. All right, here we go. I found my way out of the show. It's been great talking to you.